Welcome! Today we are going to meet for the first time. It's like a date, only you can stay in your pajamas and I won't awkwardly say something that I'll lose sleep over for the next 5 years. We're also going to chat about why art matters because movies, TV shows, and all of the other arts are the only reason why we don't lose our freaking minds. You're listening to Open Here, a podcast produced by Pack TV. I'm Tiff Phillips. Let's get started. Hi, friends. Hope all is well and wonderful. I want to thank you for stumbling onto this podcast. How did you get here? Who paid you? I kid. Thank you for joining me here today. The crew and I appreciate the listen. Now, what is Open Here? For our part of the podcast, we are going to talk about pop culture. Everything from TV, movies, craft beer, and comics, to existential things like, was Donnie Darko a fever dream or did that movie actually get made? We're going to have some serious conversations about things that are fun and some fun conversations about things that are serious. And you're not just going to listen to my gorgeous voice arguing with myself. You'll also hear from other folks too. My work buddies Mark and Dave will make an appearance every month to fight me on important topics. Well, topics you'll nerd out to. You'll also meet guests from communities both near and far who will share their experiences and expert opinions. It's going to be a good time and we're excited to have you along for the ride. So stick around or I'll be forced to send you a muffin basket to win you back. Now that we've met each other and had a few laughs, let's get down to this week's topic. Why the heck do we need art? In this context, I'm going to talk about film, but art comes in a whole array of different forms that you should be welcoming into your life with open arms. Here are the reasons why film is important. Number 1, movies inspire us to be better people. Have you ever watched a movie that completely changed you, a movie that you related to on a fundamental level, a movie that made sense of all the difficulties you faced? For many of us, movies are life changers. They inspire us to dream big, beautiful dreams and do better by our fellow man and woman. We aspire to be like the fictional characters we see on the screen, the ones that start out as the worst versions of themselves and end up showing themselves and the world that they are indeed a powerhouse. I'm going to give you an example. Britney runs a marathon. Let me break down this plot for you. After going to the doctor and realizing how unhealthy she has become, a woman who parties a little too hard, our girl Britney, gets motivated to give her body an overhaul. She ends up running. She starts with her street, then goes to the next block, and then before you know it, she's signing up to run a marathon. Hence the name, Britney Runs a Marathon. Now, I'm not telling you the moral of the story is to go out and lose weight. No, you, my friend, are stunning. But sometimes we need someone, or in case something, to give us a big old mirror to let us know that whatever we got going on is not working for us. That instead of putting the people we love in front of us, we just need to start loving ourselves. The character of Britney, for all intents and purposes, would be a sidekick in any other movie. She kind of falls into the background at first. In any other movie, she would be the funny, chonky best friend that tells the quick joke that inspires the lead to run off into the sunset with her dude. But this film studies this type of character thoroughly and reveals her wants, needs, and desires to be seen by herself and others for the amazing human that she is. This movie is also based on a true story, which also goes to show you the true power of film, because how would we have known about the divine Miss Brit otherwise? But that's what film does. It uncovers versions of humanity that we may have not known existed before. People who will inspire us to do right by each other and by ourselves. Number 2, movies bring us together. Movies are magical in a way that brings people together. Ever been to a party and had nothing to talk about? Then someone mentions Star Wars and suddenly you have a whole dissertation ready on why you think Palpatine is actually Anakin's father? No? Yeah, no, me either. But seriously, movies allow us to come together for common interests. They're great conversation starters and basically bring people together to form groups and subcultures. Whether you're a Trekkie or a Star Wars nerd or even a Golden Girls fanatic, you can trust that there's a community that awaits you. Whole conventions have been formed by the most amazingly weird things, which goes to show you there are other weirdos out there just like you. Movies also bring us physically together. Remember being a teen and wouldn't be caught dead with your family? But when the VHS tape got pushed into the VCR, you were all about family movie night. Movies force us to interact with our family and friends, which makes us better humans. And movies are not just good for dealing with our crazy families, but can also bridge the gap between cultures. Disney's Encanto, for example, was a worldwide sensation that not only has taught children about a culture different from their own, but taught their parents too. Encanto takes the audience on a journey to meet the Madrigal family, a family who lives in a place in the mountains of Colombia called Encanto. which has given each of the family's children a special gift. But the family is tested when their home becomes endangered. Now, Disney has had a rough past when it comes to cultural appropriation, but creators of this film actually went to great lengths and took a lot of time to make sure that the film was true to Colombian culture. And it worked. Millions of children of all ages got to embrace a culture quite different from their own, and many children got to see themselves represented on film for the very first time. In a world full of people who can't reconcile their differences, film has the ability to put away all that stuff, that baggage, and unite us and change us in the most beautiful ways. Number 3, film can drive social change. Yes, we live in a world full of turmoil. Every day we see headlines that reveal the many injustices taking place in society. And in the face of that injustice lies the revolutionaries, the risk takers, and the drivers of change. Movies have a long history of bringing about social change. Whether it's satire or reenactments of actual events, film has a way of making you feel things. It excites us, enrages us, and makes us view the world with a different set of eyes. It holds the mirror up to us, makes us look at our reflections, and begs the question, what the heck are we doing? Let's talk about Philadelphia. Not the city, the movie that shined a light on a taboo name that people were too scared to mention, AIDS. In the 1980s, doctors discovered a large number of patients in New York, San Francisco, and Los Angeles were getting sick. Many of them were gay men. With a society that revolted at the idea that homosexuality could even exist, the disease was rarely discussed. But there were a handful of brave filmmakers that sought to tell the story of the lives that this devastating pandemic touched. Over a decade after the discovery of AIDS in the United States, Philadelphia was made. This courtroom drama put a famous face to the issue. Tom Hanks plays a man who has been diagnosed with AIDS and suffers the fallout when his employers find out that he has the illness and then they fire him. The film is not just about the AIDS crisis, but rather the implications of widespread homophobia in society, professional settings, and in families. There was never a movie quite like this, with a name like Tom Hanks attached to it. It was a major theatrical release talking about something that went unsaid. The film is often praised by critics and destigmatizing not only the disease, but most importantly, the people that it touched, proving that film can change hearts and minds. Filmmakers had the courage to pull back the veil and reveal what's buried underneath. Film unravels us in the best possible, most needed way. It shows that hate is killing us and that in the end, we are not that different from one another, that we are all just people trying to live our lives. Number 4, film expands our imagination. Whether it's the wizarding world of Harry Potter, the epic realm of The Lord of the Rings, or the intergalactic universe of Star Wars, film broadens our horizons. When we fly off to magical places and listen to animals speak, we expand our minds and think more creatively. This is especially true for children. In 2012, researchers from Lancaster University in the UK did a really cool study that separated 52 preschool children into 2 groups. One group was shown scenes from Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone that incorporated magic. The other group was shown clips from the movie without magic. The results? After watching scenes depicting magic, this particular group of children scored better in areas of creativity than the kids who watched the scenes without. Why is it important that kids are imaginative thinkers? Well, because imagination is good for kids and for you too. It encourages intellectual and social development, lets people think in multiple different ways, and just makes life better and more colorful and a lot more fun. In essence, life would suck without creative thinkers. Where would the world be without the minds of people like Steven Spielberg and Tim Burton? There's enough darkness in this life, and imagination gained from movies shines a light on us all. Number 5, film heals. Like all art, movies heal the heart and the mind. Film can provide an escapism when there's no place else to escape to. Remember that time that we went through a worldwide pandemic? Everyone flocked to their couches and streamed whatever they could find. We got to fight bad guys with Wonder Woman, fight everybody with Harley Quinn, and solve mysteries with Enola Holmes. We got inspired by a live-action Mulan and got to talk to animals with Dr. Dolittle. Another Dr. Dolittle, not Eddie Murphy. For 2 hours, we got to escape to different worlds where we were kept company by old and new fictional friends. We forgot that we were living in a nightmare and got to live a fantasy where the good guys win. Film can be the warmest of hugs and can embrace us in the direst of times. We humans are complex creatures, and some of us battle some pretty evil demons. With movies, you can escape those evil jerks and get inspired to eventually slay all day. So why discuss this as our first episode? Well, I wanted to let you know why we talk about this stuff and why it's not just important to us, but for humans in general. Art, in its many, many forms, forces us, these wonderfully intricate creatures, to look beyond ourselves and to see the world through a larger lens. It helps us cross the divide and teaches us that we are all connected in this weirdly magnificent neighborhood we call Earth. So join us on this epic journey through the wonderful world of podcasting as we celebrate art, pop culture, and our wonderfully complicated, beautiful existence. We're happy to have you with us. You've been listening to Open Here, a podcast produced by the local scene of Plymouth Area Community Television. PAC TV is the community media provider for the Massachusetts towns of Plymouth, Pembroke, Kingston, and Duxbury. To see more of our content, visit pactv.org/thelocalscene. I'm Tiff Phillips. Thanks for tuning in. Let's hang out again soon. Love and give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe.